They're winning on the field, the displays have been great overall in the last couple of weeks, but as we head towards the international break, Barcelona have quite a few serious issues to sort out. It doesn't help matters that teenage starlet Ansu Fati could be out for at least 4 months after injuring his meniscus in the team's most recent league victory. Antoine Griezmann has so far failed to live up to his hefty price tag, while Lionel Messi is not the same all-conquering phenomenon we've been seeing for the past 12 years. On top of that, the club's erratic behaviour in the transfer markets of the last few years has finally started catching up to them and could end up haunting them even further. A few weeks ago, it was claimed that La Blaugrana are in a dire financial situation after announcing losses of up to £88 million following the global pandemic situation. Back in March, the club had negotiated a 70% cut with the players, but the income has recently dropped to £746 million. Salaries account for the team's 80% of total income, and according to Mundo Deportivo, Barcelona have no other option other than agreeing new cuts with the players if they are to manage their overinflated wage bill. The squad is set to have another crucial round of talks with the team management. The most viable solution revolves around the salary structure remaining the same but paid in smaller installments over a period of time. At present, this option has only been entertained by goalkeeper Marc-Andre ter Stegen, who recently signed a new contract, Frenkie de Jong, Clément Lenglet, and Gerard Piqué. In what does seem like a very ridiculous option, the team management is also considering the option of naming all its players as club ambassadors, and they receive their money once they hang up their boots. Not sure if any player would agree to something like this. The nature of football is very unpredictable in general, so it would be understandable if the Barcelona players would want to go down that route. And if things don't change, the Association of Spanish Footballers will be forced to get involved. A statement already released from them reads, "The club cannot fail to be aware that this process, if carried out in the terms set forth, will entail a more than secure challenge to the measures that are finally adopted, with a high risk of nullity and the automatic right to indemnified termination of the employment contract of the affected workers by virtue of the appreciation of Article 41 ET itself. We believe that the club must be frank with its members and assume before them that these measures will lead to a very significant loss of FC Barcelona's assets. But that's not it. Construction company Muro Cortina Modular Renting MCM have presented a claim to the business courts in Barcelona, requesting the club to be placed into bankruptcy in order for them to finally receive the €3.5 million the team owes them for their work on the La Masia building. The Catalan club's debt has soared since 2019, going from €217 million to €488 million. With no fans allowed inside the stadiums all across Spain, the club is also losing money every game week. According to financial forecasting, Barcelona will have to slash their wage bill by about 30% in order to continue their operations. With a wage bill standing at €200 million, you once again circle back to all the mistakes the club has been making off the field. Messi makes roughly €1.3 million a year and annually ends up pocketing €71 million. And this amount does not even include bonuses. Now, had former president Bartomeu decided not to stand in the star player's way when he wanted to leave Camp Nou earlier in the summer, Barcelona might not have been worrying about their overinflated wage bill. Interim president Carlos Tusquets has some really big decisions to make ahead of the presidential elections. During a press conference, the stand-in president revealed that while the club is not looking to take money from anyone, the priority right now is to reduce short-term expenses by agreeing to the salary structure with the staff. We have to reduce short-term expenses. We hope to reach an agreement with the players and with all the club's staff on the salary negotiation process. The essential thing at the moment is to lower expenses and look for forms of income that do not exist at the moment. One of the basic aspects that provide income is tourism, even more so than television rights. In the last year before the pandemic, the club had raised €222 million from the Camp Nou. That is impossible this year. During the summer, Barcelona decided to sell Luis Suarez, Artur Melo, Rafinha, Arturo Vidal, and Nelson Semedo, but it is clear that selling these players wasn't enough. Let's have a look at some of the players the club needs to sell in order to at least have a chance of raising enough capital. Samuel Umtiti. the France international is definitely one of the finest centre-backs on the planet. In 2018, he guided Les Bleus to their second World Cup triumph. However, things have gone downhill for the defender since then. The Frenchman has struggled for fitness, with constant knee injuries really impacting his presence on the pitch. Barcelona have been looking for buyers for their experienced centre-back, but nothing has happened so far. A fee in the region of €60 million is deemed sufficient to let the player leave Camp Nou. Ousmane Dembélé. Dembélé was on the verge of leaving Barcelona in the last few days of the summer transfer window, with Man United eager to sign him on loan with a non-binding option to buy. The Catalan giants, however, were more interested in selling the winger outright. The English giants didn't want to take such a huge gamble on a player whose injury record isn't a great one, so the former Dortmund man stayed put, and with an annual wage of €22 million, Dembélé is also a very expensive presence in the squad. Selling him is definitely going to go a long way in helping ease the pressure on the club's wage bill. Philippe Coutinho. Ever since he arrived at Camp Nou from Liverpool, the Brazilian has been unable to replicate the form that made him a Kop favourite. The talented forward won the Champions League for Bayern Munich while on loan from Barcelona, but it is fairly evident that he could do much better than he's doing right now. There was reported interest for the player from Arsenal and Paris Saint-Germain, but Ronald Koeman decided to give the Brazilian international another chance. While he hasn't performed poorly, perhaps Barca might consider selling him in the coming months in order to further ease the pressure on their hapless wage bill. Presidential candidate Victor Font had been saying all along that Barcelona's financial situation was messy. Under Bartomeu, the club scaled new heights by almost becoming the first club to post $1 billion in revenue. However, it's all been downhill since then. The club has been unable to go deeper in the Champions League knockout phases, while their league form wasn't that great either. And now, Victor Font has also claimed that the club's wage bill is becoming a serious issue, which is why it's important for the elections to take place ahead of time. While speaking to Diario AS, Font admitted that he was surprised at the interim government's inability to set a date for the elections. Barca is practically in a situation of economic bankruptcy. Technically, it is bankrupt. This situation puts the ownership model at risk. Years ago, we made a diagnosis in which we already anticipated what was going to happen, and now that has come to pass. That is why the project we are preparing is so key. We do not know the exact reality of the club. The role of the club management is to make the transition. I'm surprised that no date has been set for the elections yet. The structural decisions must be made at the economic level. The wage situation is critical, and it is something the board should be addressing. But also, they must call elections, and we will have to make exceptions at the statutory and legal level. We asked Tusquets to promote electronic voting. Hopefully, we can be a reference of modernity. As things stand, Barcelona are in a murky situation. While Ronald Koeman has been somewhat successful in protecting the players from the external strife, eventually the club's financial woes are going to start having a serious impact on the players' performances. The current ownership model is definitely looking like a flawed and outdated concept. While the democratic nature of things does make a president accountable, it is not a guarantee of success. While many people would understandably have reservations about a sole ownership structure, at least such a model has a better chance of ensuring a club's viability as long as the owner knows what he's doing. At Barcelona, politics do play a big role in how things pan out. This creates a power struggle which at times can get so messy that the club's interests are forgotten and individual pride takes its place. That is exactly what has happened at Barcelona. Bartomeu resigned, but before calling an end to his infamous tenure, he decided to force Messi into staying at the club without weighing up the pros and cons of making such a bold move. Messi wanted to leave, was going to earn more at another club, but Bartomeu didn't want to be remembered as the man who sold Messi. Turns out, it could have been a masterstroke of a decision had he done that. Messi is a great player, possibly the greatest of all time. However, his departure could have helped Barcelona avoid all this needless drama we're witnessing right now. The club is in serious financial peril, and though it is not the player's fault, perhaps Bartomeu should have not stood in his way when he wanted to leave. While Messi leaving would not have been the entire part of the solution, it would definitely have played a big role in helping the club reduce its wage bill while also adding much needed money to their cash reserves, with a fraction of that money spent on bringing in a few young players who would have helped usher the club into a new era.